Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. And yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Thursday morning. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Thursday morning, guys. So your girl's just getting over a cold, so I'm still sounding like a whole moose up over here. Please bear with me. um, have a busy day ahead, but I keep getting convicted to make this. So, of course, obedience, obedience, obedience. So, most chosen people, can never say all, of course, most chosen people are coming out of a season where you've took some major hits. You are about to enter a season of abundance so large that your mind can't even grasp how large and how grand your next season is going to be. Some of you guys have already entered that season, or you've already got your foot in that door, and you're realizing that it's way more grand than what you initially thought. But for those of you who are lingering, and that door has not opened yet, and you've been through some major attacks. See, again, these attacks are literally designed to drop you and you never recover. Everybody don't recover from attacks. Don't get it twisted and think that everybody who's walking around talking to themselves on the streets is on drugs. Like, your mind can literally slip up from under you. Don't get it twisted. Here's what happened with some people. When that attack or those attacks, because some people, probably a lot of people, it was back to back. It just wasn't one major attack. It's literally back to back attacks. And this also indicates, this is an indication of how big your next season is. When you're about to be elevated to, like, let's just say the next level, but this level is not like, I mean, you thought that level was a big deal, but now you're realizing, like, okay, wow, thank you God for blessing me, but now where you're taking me, I realize that really wasn't like a big deal comparing it to where I'm going. So if you can think back on that time, the attacks that you experienced, they weren't major attacks. I mean, it may have felt like it at the time, excuse me, but that could have looked like blowing a tire and you didn't have money to replace the tire, so you had to go 2 weeks without a car. Or maybe your engine blew out, or like petty attacks. But these attacks at this level is designed to snatch your mind. To snatch your mind. This is why you have to be so tapped in. And this is what this recording is going to lead into, because a lot of people have tapped out, and I'll explain. But this is why you have to be so tapped in, because there's so much riding on the fact when you stay tapped in. There are strategic moves, there are strategic downloads, there is strategic grace, there's so much you got to stay tapped in order to stay covered. But a lot of people have tapped out. Let me explain here. With some of these hits being as major as they are, it's easy to get to the point where you start to feel as if God has lied to you. God has forgotten about you. God don't care. How could you give me a certain promise and nothing is happening? How am I sitting here doing everything the right way? You're not perfect. We ain't that cute, boo, right? But I'm doing everything the right way just to get hit. Doing everything the right way just for something to look the complete opposite that you showed me. Okay, so you can sit there for a while, but when those attacks start coming back to back, back to back, and it seems like God is nowhere in sight, it'll be very, very, very easy for the enemy to get into your head and have you to revert back, not fully, because you've come so far that you can never go back to the person you were before answering the call. But the enemy is very subtle. So let's just say, and this is just an example, let's just say you're someone who recovered from a drug habit. Let it be crack. Let's just say crack. But supernaturally, God healed you of that addiction. You're like 20 years free, 20 years clean and free. And you're on this path of following God to destiny, etc. Everything's going great. Everything's going great. Excuse me. And then, boom, you take a hit that you could have never seen coming. This can look like you walking in the door and catching your husband in bed with another woman. Child, let me just tell you. Child. Let me just tell you, that would not be a pretty sight, right? But I'm just making the point here. And also keep in mind, we all have strength. I would say weaknesses, but we all have strength and we all have strength in certain areas and not so much strength in other areas. See, something like that. Oh, listen. Give me that time to grieve, right? Give me about a good month to get like all residue out. But that right there won't keep me down. Because I know what I carry and what I bring to the table. I know that it's your loss. I know that you're going to feel it. I know that God has many other options. So that's my mindset there. Well, with somebody else, that's something that the way you love, right? That hit like that. Now, for me, it would be something else. I won't say it because, but for me, something else would take me down like that. But for you, it literally shattered your heart. So that drug habit that you recovered from, the enemy is now playing in your mind and say, well, you know what? Where's God? You're following God. You got all this God talk, right? You're going to destiny. And God allowed this to happen. You were doing the right thing. You didn't touch that pipe or crack, whatever, however crack or smoke. I don't even know. You didn't touch that thing. Like you were in your word. You were going to church. Like you were on the right path. And that hit happened when you were doing everything correctly. So you might as well go and take one more hit to soothe that pain. You won't get back addicted because remember, God healed you from it. So just take one hit. This is how the enemy will play in your head now. So just take one hit. You can never get back addicted. You're healed from it. This will be enough just to soothe that pain and get you over that heartbreak. Now when you go and touch that thing, now it's 1 week. Well, you see, you took the hit one time. You're not back addicted. You might as well do it 7 more days until your heart heals. Matter of fact, just keep doing it until you get over this emotional hump. And before you know it, boom, you're full blown back to being a crackhead. So now you're definitely not tapped in. Because why aren't you tapped in? Because you already know if you stay tapped in, conviction is there. And you don't want to put that crack pipe. Like that crack is help. Why am I talking about crack? I don't even know. Right? You don't want to put that crack pipe down because that feeling is still there. That heartbreak is still there. That grief is still there. So that crack pipe is soothing that pain. So much so that you think the crack pipe or whatever the vice is for you, right? Because it's different for everybody. Whatever that vice is, if it's sex, if it's crack, if it's excessive alcohol, if it's porn, if it's whatever that thing is, you know what that thing is that you picked up to soothe and mask whatever pain that the attack brought on. Listen, here's the thing. God knew it all along. He knew it all along. So the enemy will have you staying tapped out because it's almost like first of all, again, if you're tapped in, you're going to get convicted so much that you're going to have to stop that thing anyway. So you're not ready. So you don't want to even get tapped back in. But the enemy will have you thinking that whatever that vice is, whatever that thing is, it can soothe you more than God. Now, at some point, that was not even a conversation because you knew nothing could ever soothe you more than the Holy Spirit, God, etc., etc. Not etc., etc. You get the point here, right? But because you took the hits and you felt like God allowed you to fall, right? And then that's not true. Let's keep that. But it felt that way at the time. So it's almost now like I would rather keep this crack because at least this didn't fail me. At least I don't have to take the gamble because the crack will be here to soothe me at all times. If I start getting tapped back in and if I start walking on this path again, it's still a gamble because I might get hit again. But God knew it all along. So here's what God is going to start to do. He allowed you to play with it for a while because he knows and he understands. Listen, people got to stop seeing God like listen, when you have a relationship with God, it's a whole nother level of understanding than what religion has taught. God is so patient, loving, kind. Don't get it twisted. You can get those edges snatched, and you will, right? But he's also understanding. So it's almost like he's sitting back watching you, right? He knows you're slipping. But it's almost like this grace that, okay, you know what? I know what you're going through. I knew it from the jump. Anyway, I knew this would happen. I'm going to let you have this time. And I'm going to keep you covered with grace. I'm going to keep you protected because I know the type of hit and the attack that you took. So I know what you're going through. I know you're only human. But then I'm going to hit you after a while that says, boom, enough is enough. You've had long enough to grieve, right? You had long enough for me to finally pour into your mind, going back to the person who caught their husband in bed or wife in bed, whatever. You had enough time now. It's been 6 months now where I've proven to you that them messing up has nothing to do with you. That's all them. That's their own trauma. They can never commit because they're afraid of love. They're afraid of this, that, and the third. That was never about you. So I help you to understand that. I help you to process that and release that thing. All right. So I've been in this grief with you. I've been in this struggle with you, even though you was hitting that crack pipe, even though you was messing up, even though you try to reject me and run me off because you thought that I would judge you, right? Or condemn you, I should say, for picking that crack pipe back up. I'm going to convict you, but I'm going to love on you through this thing. So much so that when I tap you and says, the time is up, put it down. You can come back to me, open arms, with no hesitation, with like, oh my goodness, I can't, no, I can't go back because God knows I'm a crackhead. He been knew you was a crackhead. When he comes back and say, and a lot of you guys are here now, when he comes back and say, the time is up. I gave you that grieving process. I gave you a healing process. And don't get it twisted. You may not even be 100%. You're not 100% there yet. But it's enough now to say, you can hear me clearly. It's enough now to say, that covering, that protection, that I had, because I know that you know. I'm telling you now, there's a grace for you now to move up out of it. There's a grace for you now to leave it alone. That person, that place, that thing, whatever you pick back up, there's a grace now where you can hear the conviction so heavy that it will be easier for you to obey and get back in alignment than it would be for you to keep going down and spiraling down that hill. Because now that protection is going to be removed. I need you back in alignment. It will be your responsibility. You have the grace to do so. So at this point, this is a you thing. This is just a hard-headed thing. Because I'm giving you the grace to move it now. This is now obedience over emotions. This is crucial. Because this will determine if you ever make it to the promised land, or you revert back to the group of individuals who will never see it because they gave up. Whatever the conviction is that you're dealing with, and you already know what it is. Nobody have to tell you. Like, it's different for everybody, but you already know what it is. You know what it is. And the crazy part about it is, the struggle is going to be because you got comfortable back in that thing. So remember, that's the whole point. It's obedience over emotions. But more than anything, knowing that that protection can be lifted is what should have you running back to an alignment. Whatever barriers he's telling you to put in place, whatever strategic discipline he's telling you to put in place, whatever boundaries he's telling you to put in place, basically he's saying the fun is over. And it was fun, don't lie, right? Discipline is going to be crucial. Last thing really quickly. Y'all know how we say we forgive somebody? You know how you say you forgive somebody, right? And you really, like, in your heart, in your mind, like, you really feel like you've forgiven the person, because you're like, oh, Lord, I forgive them. I let it go. Like, seriously, right? And for some people, that's true. You have. But then there can be one person who tried you one too many times, and forgiving them is taking a little bit longer. I mean, you really believe you have, but there's still a little bit of residue, and you know it's there because you know you don't have no pureness in your spirit when you see them, when they, like, you don't even like them. Like, it's that, don't even look at me type of feel, right? There's also a grace. That if you have that conversation, or you just, whatever the Holy Spirit tells you to do in order to, like, move past that unforgiveness, that's going to be crucial too. That's going to hold you up. See, there's just certain things that God is not going to do for us. Like, it's almost like He'll give you a grace. Like, there's a ease to do it, but you have to have the made up mind, obedience over emotions, because you know what it is that you will be sacrificing if you don't get back in alignment. The next season is major. I mean, major. Blessings chasing you down, major. People looking for you, major. You're turning deals down, major. It's major blessings coming for the chosen ones. And don't get it twisted, right? I want to clarify something. Don't think these blessings are just to, like, have you splurging, right? No. This is a whole different level in mindset. These blessings are designed to do purpose and calling and for God to use you in much more major ways. But in the meantime, you do get to enjoy the benefits. But this is just not about you and just, you know, it's so much bigger than that. It's going to be partnerships. It's going to be like, it's major. And this is why God is removing a lot of people. This is why we went through that extensive pruning process of people who no longer serves us, people who don't bring anything to the table, people who benefit your life in no way. Like you typically would keep these people around because of the way your heart was set up. But in this, I'm going anyway, guys. Sorry, but in this season, it has to be reciprocity. It has to be. And that's not to say, he won't have you, like, but it can't be your, okay, I gotta go. It can't be just because your own, emotions and things like that. But I wanted to share that. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.